Hello friends, welcome to my new data structures and algorithms in Java tutorial series video. Friends, in this tutorial we will discuss how to insert a word in try. So friends, let's see a demonstration of how to insert a word in a try. Friends, in our previous tutorial we discussed that whenever we initialize a try class, root points to an empty try node. Because in the constructor of the try, we create a new try node and we simply assign it to the root. Now for example, let's say we want to insert a word as cat. So here you can see the word cat has three characters C, A and T. And as we are using the English alphabets, we will initialize this try node array with a size of 26, where index 0 will correspond to A, index 1 will be corresponding to B, and index 2 will be corresponding to C, and similarly index 25 will correspond to Z. Friends, we also know that each character in this word will be represented by a try node. So using this root, so first we will insert C from the root. So here what we do, we go to index 2 which maps to character C, and we will see that whether try node at index 2 is null or not. So currently as root is empty, the try node at index 2 is null. Therefore in order to insert the character C, first we will create a try node, and after creating this try node, we will simply refer it from the index 2 which maps to C. Also friends, once we insert this try node, using this link we simply traverse to this position, and after reaching to this try node, now we will insert A. So what we do is we simply go to the index 0 which maps to A, and we'll see that whether it's null or not. So currently you can see that it points to null. So in order to insert A, we'll again create a try node, and after creating the try node, we'll simply refer to this try node from index 0 which maps to A. Also friends, once we have inserted this try node, using this link we will simply traverse to this try node, and then we will insert the character T. So when we reach to this try node, we simply traverse to an index which maps to T, and we'll see that whether it's null or not. So here you can see it points to null. So in order to insert T, we'll first create a new try node, and then we will simply refer to this try node from the index which maps to T. Also friends, once we insert this try node, using this link we'll simply traverse to this try node, and after we reach to this try node, we see that there are no more characters left to be inserted. So we also know that this is the end of the word. So in order to mark cat as the end of the word, what we do, to this try node we simply assign the value as true. So this value signifies that when you reach to this try node, this makes end of the word, and it also signifies that cat is in the try. Friend, let us take one more example. We'll insert a word sun. So when we call the insert method, we'll start from the root, and as we want to insert S, we simply reach to an index which maps to S, and we'll see that whether it's equal to null or not. So here you can see it points to null. Therefore in order to insert the character S, we'll first create a try node, and we'll simply refer to this try node through this link from the index which maps to S. And after we insert this try node, we simply traverse to this try node through this link, and once we reach to this link, we'll now insert the character O. So here we go to index which maps to O, and we'll see whether it points to null or not. So here you can see it points to null. So in order to insert O, we'll again create a try node, and we'll simply refer to this try node through this link from index which maps to O, and then we'll simply traverse to this try node, and after we reach to this try node, we'll now insert N. So we simply traverse to an index which maps to N, and we'll see whether it's equal to null or not. So here you can see it points to null. Therefore, in order to insert n, we'll again create a trinode, and after we create a trinode, we'll simply refer it through this link from index which maps to n. And also friends, here you can see now this word is inserted completely. So using this link, when we reach to this trinode, we'll now simply mark this boolean value to be true, which signifies that this is the end of the word. Moving ahead. Now friends, let's suppose we want to insert a word so. So here you can see we have already inserted sun, and the word so is prefixed to sun. So let's see how we'll insert so into this try. So we'll start from the root. We go to index which maps to s, and we'll see whether it points to null or not. So here you can see this time it's not pointing to null, and it is pointing to a trinode, which signifies that there is a character s into this try. So we'll not create a new trinode, and we'll simply traverse to this trinode, and then we'll insert o. So here we'll reach to an index which maps to o, and we'll see that whether it points to null or not. So here you can see that this index doesn't point to null, and it points to a trinode, which signifies that there is a character o into this try. So what we'll do is simply traverse to this trinode now using this link. And once we reach to this trinode, we see there are no more characters left to be inserted. So in order to mark this word so that it is present into this try, what we'll do, we'll simply assign a value true, which will signify that this is the end of the word and the word so is present into this try. So friends, this boolean value is very important, which let us know that whether the particular word is present into this try or not. Also friends, if we see the symbolic representation of this try, then it looks something like this, that root is empty, and from root there are three words, C, A, T. T is the end of the word, and sun, S, O, N, where N is the end of the word, and also so, where O is the end of the word. So basically this try has three words. Moving ahead. Friends, whenever we insert into a try, there are few use cases which we will look one by one. So the first use case is, let's say we have an empty try and now we are inserting a completely new word. So when we say an empty try, it means root is pointing to an empty try node. And let's say we insert a word as cat. So from root, we will first insert C. So it would look something like this. Then we'll traverse to C. And now we'll insert A. So it would look something like this. And then we'll traverse to A. And finally we'll insert T. So it looks something like this. And then we will traverse to T. And we know that now we have inserted this word completely. Therefore, we will mark T as the end of the word by making it in yellow color. So this was the use case 1. Now friend, the second use case is when we want to insert a word into this try, and this try contains already many words, but the word which we want to insert has no prefix to this word. So the new word which we are inserting is completely altogether new to all the words inside this try. So here let's suppose we want to insert sun. So here you can see that sun doesn't have any prefix to cat. So this is an altogether completely new word into this existing try. So we'll see how we can insert sun into this try. So we'll start from the root, and first we will insert S. So it would look something like this, that there is now another branch which takes in a word S from the root. Because friends, we also discussed that root has a trinode array which points to all the English alphabets. So in this trinode array, from the index which maps to C, there is a word, and from the index S we will start inserting our new word. So after we insert S, we will simply traverse to S, and then we will insert U. So it would look something like this, and after we insert U, we simply traverse to U to insert N. So it would look something like this. And once we insert N, we'll simply traverse to this node. And here we also know that we have inserted this word completely. Therefore, we'll mark this node as the end of the word by making it in yellow color. Friend, use case 3 is insertion with word which is having a common prefix. So here you can see in our try there is already one word there. And let's say we want to insert a word there. So here you can see both these words have common prefix. So the letters T, H, E is also present here. T, H, E. So these three letters are common to these both words. So let's see how we can insert there into this try. So here we will start from the root and we will see that whether T is present or not. So here you can see T is already present. So we will simply traverse to T. And once we reach to T, we see whether H is present or not. So H is already present. So we will simply traverse to H. After that we will see that whether E is present or not. So here E is present. So we will simply traverse to E. And now we will see that whether I is present or not. So here you can see I is not present. So here from E there will be another branch coming out. We'll create a new try node I and we'll simply link to this new try node from E. So it would look something like this. That from E there is a link to a character I. And once we insert I, we'll simply traverse to I and we'll finally insert R. So we'll check whether R is present or not. So here you can see R is not present. So we'll create a new try node and we'll insert R. And finally we see here that it is the end of the word. So we'll simply mark R as the end of the word. Also friends, one final use case would be that insertion with word already present into the try. So here let's suppose our try consists of a word daddy. So it has 5 nodes which points to D, A, D, D, Y. And let's suppose we want to insert a word dad. So we know that dad is already present into this try. But we need to perform some work to make sure that dad is inserted into this try. So what we do is, we start from the root. We see whether D is present or not. So D is present. So we'll simply traverse to D. We check whether A is present or not. So A is present. So we'll simply traverse to A. We check whether D is present or not. So D is present. So we'll simply traverse to D. And as we know that we have inserted this word completely. So one last thing we do is, we simply mark D as the end of the word by making the boolean value is word to be true. So friends, in this tutorial we actually saw the demonstration of how we can insert a word into a try through all the possible use cases. In our next tutorial we'll actually see the code to insert a word into a try. I hope you like this video. Thanks, have a nice day.